So for 2023 and 2024, I just wanted to share a few ramblings, thoughts, stories that will help you in 2024. Most people, 2023 was a rough year. In 2024, looks like it's going to be rougher for most of us. So you can expect more of whatever you experienced in 2023, plus additional hardships. Now, your willingness to work and do things, to salvage material, to work with tools, to make stuff at home and repair things will determine whether your lifestyle improves or decreases. And through 2023, a lot of different things happened. One of them was the amount of salvage and repair work I did greatly increased. But at the same time, spare parts decreased. So it was much harder and much more expensive to find those parts. Now, I did a lot of maintenance work around the farm on buildings, fences, roofs. And what you find is your basic tool set that you can get pretty cheap at any home store or Harbor Freight or anywhere else you want to go, that will handle many repairs that you will need to do. Because in today's world, like when I was a kid, I was always told if you can't afford to fix it, you're probably not going to be able to afford it. And that also goes into building things. If you can build fences, you can build sheds, you can repair roofs, you can do things like that. It allows you to live in a much better condition than if you can't do those things and you have to pay others to do it. So one thing that's greatly overlooked is sewing. And I started sewing sailcloth, leather, heavy things like that, repairing that by hand, and then eventually migrated into clothing. In just over 2023, I saved thousands of dollars in materials I could reuse or continue to use or I made rather than purchasing. And that included repairing blankets, clothing, canvas material, canvas tarps, backpacks, straps, dog pillows, dog blankets, dog coats, human coats. And I found I was repairing a lot of straps and doing a lot of hand sewing. So this is an example of one of the things I'm going to sew and repair. This is a dog coat, and what's happened is one of the straps is disconnected. So what I'll do is repair this first and then sew it back in here. But one of the things I want to show you is how quality has really declined. And if you look in here close up, you'll see that this has a single stitch in the seam. When I was younger, everything seemed to be triple stitched, and they kind of said it was cheap if it was double stitched. But what you're going to find is a lot of stuff that's produced today is only going to have a single stitch seam. And what you may want to do when you get this stuff is go ahead and double or triple seam it. And that way you won't have issues like this. But this is an example of one thing that I've repaired. This is something I'm going to repair here in the next couple days. But it just goes to show you can look at the price of these things and you can see real quick how much money you can save by repairing this kind of stuff instead of throwing it away. One thing I'd like to add in 2024 is an industrial sewing machine. That way I can speed up and greatly expand what I did as far as sewing goes. Now, sewing is a skill that you improve with practice. And basically the philosophy of survival in this channel is it can look stupid, it just has to work. And what you find is once you no longer care what other people think, if your repair efforts are successful, but they don't look pretty or they look stupid, it doesn't matter. If your web gear is mixed with different color camouflage pouches and so forth, who cares if it works? If your gun is used and it works well, who cares if it was repaired or pieced together? These are the kind of things and philosophies you're going to need to move ahead, because all these people in the tactical, the fashion industry, and the yuppie mindset, they all care what everything looks like, so it's all substance over performance. And in the economic collapse, performance is key, not looks. So if you're using equipment that's of mixed manufacture, mixed appearance, mixed color, who cares? So when we look at this, one of the big mistakes I made is in 2023, I didn't keep good records of my vehicle and equipment maintenance. And what that did is extended my intervals for service. So, of course, I thought I could keep it all straight in my head, but I learned again that I cannot. So in 2024, I'm going to have a logbook for all my equipment and vehicles. That way I can stay on time for oil changes, filter changes, hydraulics, whatever it is that I need to work on. And that will help you greatly, because you can use those service records to help you estimate the life of equipment. Because what I found is with more rapid intervals and going minimum oil changes, I've been able to use cars and equipment much longer than the people around me. So that's a great cost savings. So one of the other things for 2023 and moving into 2024 is the fact that if you're known in the community for fixing things, building things, doing unique hobbies, people that you've helped will show acts of kindness to you in the future that you don't expect. Now, most people you help, you're probably never going to see again. But what I found is over the years, so many people have given back to me so much for small things that I helped them with, whether it was radiators, fixing things, making parts, finding parts. That, for instance, one individual that used to do a lot of automotive stuff and gave me an entire set of mechanics tools. Now, he realized and knows I didn't really need them. This was gifted to me. And when people in the community know you, people in your church group know you, a lot of times they'll give you things if you just remove them from the premises for them, because they don't want to fool with it, or they want it to have a good home. And I can't tell you how many tools, pieces of equipment, guns, and things people gave me over the years because they wanted it to have a good home. And your goodwill will come back to you. One of the things I disagree with a lot of survival channels is you helping people, helping them to survive, helping them through bad times. That is more than just community. All that goodwill will come back to you in times that you can't even imagine how it will happen. For instance, I have a great nephew, and he's looking at doing automotive school. So if he pursues that, I'll probably give him a set of automotive tools, hand tools, and power tools to get him started. And, a lot of people like me over the years, people have helped us when we were getting started or while we were in business. And that's one of the things that you look to help your community with. And in a survival environment or a Great Depression, this is critical. Many people throw priceless tools equipment, materials away when their relatives die, rather than giving it to people. And when we're talking about this, if people give you stuff you don't need, you can always move it on to somebody else that does need it or will appreciate it. The other thing you can do is, if you have sufficient tools and material and space during SHTF or the deepening economic depression, you can actually double or triple your production. If you have enough tools for 3 people, then you can triple your production because you already have the tools, you just need the labor. And what I find is, in a lot of cases, people that are willing and want to learn can't afford to learn or afford the tools for the trade. So an apprenticeship program or a work program, they can work for you, learn the trade. And a lot of times what would happen when I was young is, whatever tools you learned on, they would gift them to you once you finished your apprenticeship. I don't see a lot of that today, but in general, I don't see a lot of what I used to see when I was a kid anymore either. Now, other things that occurred, I have a lot of farm paths, and you've seen I've done a lot of work on improvised roads, improvised construction, and how to make things on past videos. And one of the interesting things is, one of the farm roads that I've passed over thousands of times, the drainage changed in the area, and of course we got stuck and had to get the vehicle out. So what that brings to mind is the fact that your farm roads, your bug out routes, your evacuation routes, your get home routes can unexpectedly cause you to get stuck. Just because you've passed over that path or road 1,000 times doesn't mean you're not going to get stuck. Now, we also started doing a lot more practice with our small arms. And as usual, just because your gun worked today doesn't mean it's going to work tomorrow. So constant maintenance and vigilance is key for reliability in weapons. Now, the other thing is, if you take your weapon and you change anything on it, it may not work properly, or the point of impact may change. We were doing some experiments with a Colt 9mm AR with a 10-inch barrel, and usually when you put a silencer on it, it shifts the impact either up or down. In this case, at 25 yards, we found that the silencer mount assembly was over torquing the silencer, and it was causing the barrel to throw the rounds to the left about 12 inches at 25 meters. So getting out, testing your equipment is going to be critical in 2024. The more you do, the more you're going to learn, and the more you will understand what you can and can't depend on, and what your capabilities and limitations are. So the last thing I really want to say in this ramble is, you need to enjoy your time with your people and some leisure activities. You can't go through life living in pain or stress all the time. So we'll show you a few Christmas decorations. And we'll check out. We hope you have a good 2024. We'll see you on the next video.